When I first started my art journey over 10 years ago, I've realized that the hardest part was the start. With so many different brands and even more products on the market, it can be a challenge to find out which product best suits you. Also, it can be quite expensive to find out. So I created this series so that I would be the one to test out these products before you buy them. And together, we will find out which is worth it.
What's going on YouTube? My name is ADCArtAttack, his name is Bob, and welcome back to a brand new episode in my cheap versus expensive YouTube series. I can't tell you how many times I tried to do that. That wasn't a first take. This is the YouTube series where I, ADCArtAttack, take two art supplies in the same category at different price points, put them up against each other to find out which one of them is worth it at their respective price points. And for today's episode, I thought we could jump in with a good old classic, pencils. So, today I managed to find myself a very cheap collection of Faber-Castell pencils with a matching expensive collection, but they both sort of look the same, so which is worth it? Now the cheap side comes in at a respectable $30 for a total of 36 colored pencils. That puts them in at a price tag of around just $1 per pencil. It's not bad. Meanwhile, the expensive pencils come in at a price tag of $60 for the same amount of pencils, meaning they are exactly double the price. So is it worth spending the extra? Let's find out.
Now, as we begin with today's test, and in celebration of Thor, Love and Thunder coming to theaters soon, I just have to create some art around the Natalie Portman Thor reveal. And so today's drawing was done completely live on my Twitch, where you can find me 3 days per week with exclusive and behind the scenes art, as well as live interactions and of course, the most wholesome and beautiful community around. With today's original drawing of Thor done, based on the stunning Natalie Portman's new role, it's time to begin our cheap versus expensive journey. So, kicking things off with the cheap side. The immediate feeling when they touch the paper is an instant transportation back to my younger years. They layer with some consistency, however, quite opaque. And unfortunately have a hard nib that appears lifeless. My expectation here is not one of praise, and I believe come blending we will see a real struggle. Due to the lack of any depth in colour, I'm going to need to play to the strengths of these pencils, and I'm hoping that by doing so, we will see what they truly are made of. But this metal is going to be tough. A true test of pencils is their ability to layer. I purposefully kept the base layer soft and light to the touch, as the pencils didn't seem like they would layer too well upon one another, and okay, actually surprising. These pencils are certainly capable of coverage, and actually in a style that looks very gritty and natural, something I love. As I progressed, I started to build more confidence with these pencils, but more importantly, I began to understand them more. Suddenly, I wasn't restricted by the layering issues and found ways of making them work to achieve coverage with rich tones and blends. I found them very easy to use with a max layer capability of around 3 solid layers before scratching and damaging occurred. Now, I purposefully left the skins until last, because artists tend to completely separate the skins from reviews as well as brands themselves with their products, with skins usually sold separately. And actually, I didn't even go for the traditional colors. The opacity of these colors lended themselves really well to this particular style of skin. Honestly, the colors worked harmoniously together and I was able to achieve a really nice skin tone that I believe really worked well for the entire piece as a whole. So now it's time to switch over to the expensive side. Well, this was a big change. The immediate feeling of these pencils is a drastic contrast to the cheap side. This time we have a much softer lead, comforting and gliding over the paper evenly and controlled. It's almost spongy. However, shading, this is where we demand something special. Double the price equals double the quality, right? Yes, not bad. One of the most notable things here is how much quicker and easier they are to manage. I'm able to use much less physical pressure and the colors layer without concern for any damage. It's absolutely a night and day difference here. It's almost an entirely different product completely, and so far, I'm not seeing a problem worth noting. Though, due to an ever-looming time restraint, I admittedly got a little bit lazy in some areas to speed up the process. That being said, it didn't cause much disruption, and I found as we moved on to the skin tones, this was getting very easy and very, very enjoyable. For those skin tones, I chose to keep the colors the same as the previous side in order to keep this very fair, and I found that these were just amazing. Not only were the colors able to layer upon each other, but they were also able to blend on the paper itself, and we started to achieve a more natural appearance while keeping that same kind of style I was going for. Overall, I felt in complete control over every aspect of these pencils, including but not limited to the amount of pressure I was able to apply and achieve an even coating of color. This was an absolute treat and I thoroughly enjoyed using them. So there you have it, everyone. Here are the results. What do you think? Do you like it? Do you love it? Let me know in a comment down below. Each of these sides looks incredible, with both being a result I will be satisfied with. But one of these has the edge. I think a very important point to note that separates these two sides is that while the expensive side has far smoother blends with the cheap side having more texture, I was pushing these pencils to their maximum coverage. That means the expensive side could handle the cheap style and more. So I guess there's only one question. Which is worth it? The cheap $30 pencil collection by Faber-Castell or the expensive $60 also by Faber-Castell? Is it worth paying double the price? Yes. Yes, it is. While I think the cheap side are definitely worth their price point and then some, there's no denying the experience of using the more expensive side far outweighs the price difference, and I'd happily pay the extra. What about you? Which side do you think is worth it?
Well, there you have it, everyone. Were you surprised by the results in the end, or did you expect the expensive ones to be the better of the two? That being said, I was pleasantly surprised by just how good these cheap pencils were. I mean, honestly, nothing wrong with them. They are fantastic. Now, before we sign off today, I've got some big news for you. Firstly, oh yeah, we got some merchandise. You'll be able to find it underneath this video or on the store on our channel. And secondly, this Saturday, May 28th, I will be at London Comic Con. I'm going to be attending as a guest, so if you do catch me walking about, come on over, come and say hi. Just be gentle because I'm very fragile. Right, that's it. Hope you had fun. Bye.